Hi, hello, it's Pip here again from queenpipcards.com. Welcome to today's video. Today I am showing you how to make this, which doesn't look very much from the outside. It's one of our gold mini treat bags, and it has the new Statement of My Heart stamp set used on the front on a little pretty tag with a bit of card. But when you open it up, inside it turns into this, which is actually a wall hanging that I've made for a friend of mine. And this is inspired, you may have seen my blog post on this, but it's inspired by one of my retreat projects that I made. I did one that was made from memory and more cards, and I decided this time I wanted to make it from just the narrow note cards that we do. So it's a gift you could make. Doesn't actually, it's so much easier than it looks, but it does take a little time. It's not as quick as my normal cards that I do, but I like to sometimes make gifts for friends, and it's really nice that with this Share What You Love bundle you can personalise it so well, and I just love the sentiments, and it brought to mind a friend of mine, in fact two friends of mine. I'm making two, so that's what's hidden away inside the little gift treat bag. So I'll put that away in a moment. It uses these two stamp sets. Well, actually the three stamp sets, because it uses Statement of My Heart as well, this one. So this just has the Statement of the Heart from Stampin' Up on the front, and a little heart at the bottom, which is lovely. And it says, to love what we do and share what we love as we help others enjoy creativity and worthwhile accomplishments. In this we make a difference. And this is a sentiment that I believe holds true to lots of people, not just Stampin' Up demonstrators. So Louise is a demonstrator, she's a friend of mine who I work with, but today I'm making one for another friend of mine who's not a demonstrator. In fact, she's not really a crafter. She's a bit creative, she does like a bit of creativity, but she's actually a business coach, and I think that actually this is something that she does as well, and she definitely makes a difference in my life and in many other ladies' lives and gentlemen's lives, not just ladies. She works with men and women, and she makes a big difference in a lot of people's lives, so I wanted to make one for her too. So it uses that stamp set, and then it uses these other two stamp sets. Now the Statement of My Heart is only available in the bundles until the end of May. After that you can't get that stamp set again, ever. These two stamp sets are also available in the bundle. They will come in the Gotta Have It All bundle, but these will be moving into the main catalogue. So you've got Love What You Do and Make a Difference, which I keep calling Share What You Love and Making a Difference, but there you go, that's just me. So this one is basically a set of sentiments. No, it's not, it's a set of letters. And a few helpful things like hand stamped by, from the desk of, hashtag make a card, handcrafted just for you, made with love, but it's also got the Stampin' Up copyright on it, which is great if you want to sell your cards. And this one has It's a Beautiful Day, I'm lucky to have a friend like you, which is what I'm using, love what you do, thank you, and these beautiful flowers. So those are the stamp sets. Put those away, because I've actually stamped everything already, because it, as I say, it does take a little bit longer. So I just wanted to really show you how to put it together, because that's a bit of an art form. So I have, as I say, I chopped up two of our narrow note cards. So these are the little narrow note cards we get, you can get from me. With envelopes. Obviously I'll have envelopes left over, but that's okay because I can use those to make a mini album or something. So I literally just cut that straight in half, and that's two pieces. And then I use some of the new Mint Macaron, which is a returning colour, which I'm very pleased about. This is going to be tricky to fit it all on camera because it does take quite a lot of space. And then I cut some Whisper White cardstock and some of the Designer Series paper cardstock. No, some of the Designer Series paper. So I cut a piece of Whisper White here. So these narrow note cards are 2.5 inches by 4.5 inches. So I cut a piece of Whisper White 2.25 by 4.25, and then I cut the DSP exactly the same size. It's so 2.25 by 4.25, and I chose these two because they just go so well with the Mint Macaron, and then I could lift them up with the rich raspberry. And then I have this piece. Now this piece is out of the artisan kit, the artisan embellishment kit, which is, again, it's got that statement of the heart on the front, and I love it. And then inside, I'm keeping all my bits in there. Inside you get, well, you get more than that, but I've used quite a lot, so I'll show you what you get. Basically you get 8 of these small labels and 4 of the large labels. This is the large, these are the small. And then you get twine, and you get those embellishments, etc. And some more thin twine, really thin, like thread, whisper white thread. And then you get this Tranquil Tide and whisper white twine, which is nice. So I've pre-stamped these. I've gone ahead and pre-stamped these. So this is Tranquil Tide as the base with rich raspberry stamped off, so 2nd generation. So you stamp it once onto your mat, and then you stamp it again onto your actual project, and that gives you a slightly less dark colour. So I've popped that on there. Then I've just chopped that piece up, and then on here in the Make a Difference stamp set, you see this little piece here? Oh, I didn't see that. You see that little piece there? I'd missed that completely. But it makes these lovely little flowers. So flowers and sprays, and I thought actually that looks quite matching to these flowers and sprays, so I thought I'd just use those on the outside. So this is rich raspberry 1st generation, so you can see I've literally inked and stamped that up, and you can see how much darker it is to that one there. So the colours that I've used are Old Olive, rich raspberry and Tranquil Tide, which are the 3 colours that match. Oops, 3 colours that match with the designer series paper. The other colour that you get actually with the bundle is Grapefruit Grove, which also matches with the bundle, but just not with these 2 papers that I happen to have picked out. If I'd have picked out the one on the other side of here, for example, I would have used Grapefruit Grove. And see, that's got the pearlescent on it, so I'm actually gluing down a piece of the pearlescent side. I know, but there you go. So those are the colours that you want. And again here, I think I did 3rd generation. So this was ink it up on your pad. So ink on your pad, off, on. And literally just that little tiny circle splotch that's in the Love What You Do stamp set. This one also has that pearlescent view, which is nice. It's really pretty. And this paper also lends itself well to a bit of fussy cutting. So I have fussy cut out one of the flowers for that, and I've fussy cut out the flower, the leaves and the flowers for this one. And I think I put them that way around last time. There we go. So then we just need the bit in here. And this is Daniela's name, and that I've done with the Make a Difference stamp set. It's so easy. The only thing I would suggest is you write your name out first, or whatever word you want to write it out first on a piece of paper, so that you can see how wide it's going to be, and then that helps you centre it. You don't necessarily always want to start from the left hand side and work your way over, because if I'd have started the D here, for example, we would have finished about here, which wouldn't have looked too good. So I wrote Daniela out in words and in letters on my grid paper, and then I kind of marked, okay, so somewhere around the N and the I needs to be the centerpiece, because the D is as big as the L and the A. So somewhere in between that N and I is my center point. And you're not going to be exactly in the center, but you know, who cares? So not me, that's for sure. So I think it looks nice anyway, but you know, that's me. So then I'm going to pop on a little rose on there, and these roses are in the embellishment kit, and they come with a glue dot on the back. You just lift that piece off and they'll stick on. So that's the decoration from the front. But I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to, I mean, I will do that, but I'm not going to focus on that right now. What I'm going to show you now is how to put it all together, because putting it together it's not tricky, but it's, you know, it needs some explanation. So this bit doesn't need much explanation. I'm just gluing you just want to glue your pieces down, but you just want to make sure that you're gluing mint macaron to white, like so that you're doing the designer series paper to the white piece, and that you're doing the white piece to the mint macaron background. Okay, there we go. And you're going to see me switch up between tape and Tombow for this multi-purpose glue, so just bear with me. Just because I prefer one to t'other, well, not one to t'other, but I just prefer them for different jobs, because that's what they're designed for. They're designed for different jobs. So let's put that one. No, I think it's better that way around. And the reason why I think it's better that way around, just in case you're thinking, why did she do that? Is because I think having more of the pearlescent here kind of matches with this here, even though I'm going to have a pearlescent flower here. You kind of want to get a balanced view. So the important thing now is to turn them over in the order and in the direction that you want them. So don't be inclined to flip them. Okay, just turn them over like that. Now I've cut a piece of this gorgeous velvet rich raspberry ribbon. This is 1 meter long, which is how much you're going to need if you do the spacing that I'm going to do. If you're going to do bigger spacing, you'll need a bigger bit of ribbon, and if you're going to do maybe bigger cards, you might need a bigger bit of ribbon. So I'm just going to lay, but 1 meter works for me. So what I'm doing here is, and I don't know, you can't see the end, so I'm going to shuffle this down. So imagine that you had all 4 laid out here. Okay, I'm shuffling this down. So you can see that I've created this loop here at the top. Okay, and now what I'm doing is I'm going to stick my ribbon in place all the way down. I actually might turn it sideways, it might be easier for you to see that way. So let's keep this in the right order. Yeah, that's easier, isn't it? So we're going to go this way. Okay, now you want it so that the velvet is going to be showing at the front at all times. So you're actually going to be gluing down the velvet piece, if that makes sense. And you want a loop so that they can hang it, so a decent sized loop at the top. Okay, so that's roughly where we're talking. So now what you need to do is you need to take this piece away, and you're going to just tape down here. Now you can use snail for this internal piece, but then I will use tape to finish it off with, because snail is not strong enough to hold the ribbon when it's when it's hanging or has any weight on it, basically. So you want to get your cardstock, line it up with one of your grid lines, or just draw some grid lines on a bit of paper. Get your piece here aligned to one of the lines, and if it's not straight, it'll tell me in a minute, because you can kind of move it around a bit while it's on snail, because it doesn't actually stick, if you see what I mean. It sticks enough but not massively, and you want it about equidistant apart from each other. So you could count the 1, 2, 3, and that's 1, 2, 3.5. So that's a little bit further in. So I quite like is that right? 1, 2, 3. So actually I quite like 3. So let's pull this one up, move this over a piece. So 1, 2, 3. So it needs to come in about there. Okay. So you want it wide enough so that it can take the weight and it's going to hang evenly. So that's good. And then the next piece you're going to do exactly the same. So snail, and you're going to use your grid paper, and I do recommend you getting grid paper just because of things like this. It's so much easier to work with. You're now going to align that up underneath the other one with about 1 centimetre gap, And again, you can make sure that it's 1, 2, 3. So that's come over a little smidge. There we go. 1, 2, 3. There we are. 1, 2, 3. So that you're going to keep 2 centimeters between each of your cards, so that that's how you work out when it hangs where you need it to be. Okay, does that make sense? Hopefully that's making sense. And as you go down, just double check. Yeah, see, that one's come up a bit. It might be because I'm on camera and I'm looking at it from an angle. This one needs to, yeah, this one needs to come down a smidge. It's just slightly crooked. So we lift the ribbon, bring that one just down, make sure it's straight. There we go. Better. Okay, so you're going to do that with all of them. I'm just going to do it with these 2 to start off with, and then what you're going to do is you're going to then back these. Okay, so I cut another note card up, and I used that to create backings for these pieces. And this is where you need your tear tape, because it's not, snail's not strong enough to hold this, and multi-purpose glue is strong enough to hold it, but it doesn't do well with the ribbon part of it. So just a little bit of your tear tape going over the ribbons like this helps to hold them in place. I do one in the center as well. Okay, so all the way along the middle there, and then again on this one, hold that in place. And it just means you've got that security, so that you know that that is held in place, it's not going to go anywhere. Now this does make a little bit of a bulge in the back. The one that I did for Retreat, which you also may have seen on my blog posts recently, I used the organza fine woven ribbon, the Whisper White organza ribbon, but it's retiring, which is a real shame. Not that it matters for me sending this to Daniela, but Louise, I'm hoping, might want to share hers with her team or her friends and put it up in display. And you know, it's nice that she's got something that's current. So I thought, well, I'll make it with the velvet ribbon, and I actually really like the velvet ribbon as well, because it just adds that bit of luxury and also the pop of, you know, nice red pink colour to the project, because otherwise it is a little bit plain, just green on green. So you'll see that I've gone right over the tape with my multi-purpose adhesive glue, and then I am aligning my card, my other half of my card, to there, and I'm going to use it to stick it down. Now the reason why I put multi-purpose glue on top of the tape is it gives you that wiggle room in case you need it without actually sticking it down. But the tape holds the ribbon in place, so you get the best of both worlds there. Okay, so that's that done. I'll just do that again, and I'm using my pierce tool. So I always find it easier to use my pierce tool to take the tape edges off rather than my fingernails, because otherwise you kind of get a bit annoyed sometimes when it doesn't lift properly. Although I have to say, Stampin' Up tear tape is good. So that's that. A bit more glue, and I'm not going right to the edges. We don't want this splurting out and squirting everywhere, but we do want enough that it holds. So then we're going to make sure it's a blank one that you're putting down, a blank piece down there, and so you can see that's how you would then continue on, just doing your design, putting your ribbons on all the way down. And by doing that, you get a nice gap. You've got your gap marked out, you know how wide you are between each of your pieces, your hook hangs nicely, and then you can just finish off with some decoration. And this I did with just one dimensional in the back, and then I kind of curled Gave the flowers a little bit of love with my fingers. A little bit of curling going on there. And then that gives you a nice sort of shape to that one. That's going to go there. And then this little rose I just popped down here. And I think it's got a right way up. I don't know actually, it could go either way up I think. So I just placed that down there where I wanted it. And then these ones I did do dimensional in 2 dimensionals I think in the middle. Yeah, too big. I only did it this morning, you'd think I'd remember, but you know, that's me and my brain at the moment. Okay, that's there. And then I did a smaller mini dimensional just there so it wasn't too cloggy. And then that one. And I put all this down before I did my wording because I think I don't know, I could put that way actually this time. Although it might stick out a bit and get a bit squished. I'm just worried that although it would look nice that way, I'm just worried these might get bent, especially, you know, taking it out of the packaging. So I think it's safest if we put them on that way. Then you've just got that little one to worry about. Okay, and then Daniela, I'm going to pop up on dimensionals, and you know me, I don't like anything that's going to sag, so we'll be generous with our dimensionals. Make sure it's on there securely. There we go. And then pop that in the centre. And you can see how it's building up, you know, quite quickly once you've got your pieces together. Is that crooked? Oh, that's a bit crooked now. Just come down a bit. There we go. That's better. It's really that ribbon that I wanted to show you because that's the tricky part. The rest of it's just, you know, cutting up some cardstock and stamping some stuff, which can be tricky for some people. It's actually really easy. This is probably the hardest one because obviously you need to get the wording right, and I've given you the tips on that. So I will now carry on and finish the rest of this. And if you want to purchase the bundle from me, it's only available until the end of May, but it does create some beautiful things. So all you'd have to add to the bundle would be the inks and the notelets for that. But you could just make it out of the cardstock. You know, you could just use the cardstock that comes in the bundle, because it comes with 3 beautiful colours. So you could, in fact, 4 beautiful colours. It comes with all the colours, I think. So you could just make this literally just with the stuff that you get in the bundle and some glue and dimensionals. So I hope that's given you a nice project. Hi, I've jumped back on just to show you the back end, like the last piece of this, and how to do the base piece. So here's my sentiment I'm going to pop on there, and again I just did dimensionals on the back of this because you want it to stand out, have a bit of dimension, dare I say, to it when it's on the actual piece of card. So again, you know me, no skimping on dimensionals because I want it to have a nice centre part and not sag. And then just pop that down centrally, she says. Put that on there like that. There we go. Check that with my eyes. Yeah, that looks good. Okay, and then here comes the twine. So what we want is we want to tie this just at the bottom here in a crossover loop like this. So I take the twine on the reel, because I always like to keep it on the reel. Keeping it real on the reel. There we go. Whack it through there. Make sure these are tied over, but what we don't want to do is we don't want them to turn over because we want that beautiful velvet to show through. So take that under there, take the reel over, and then we're just going to tie it gently, and as you pull, just be careful that it doesn't twist. Okay, and then take it back again and tie it in a double knot, because that will hold that there and it will make sure then that it hasn't turned over. And you can then slide it further up if you want to, just gently easing that up the velvet, but not too high, because you see what happens, it starts to get even more buckled. So just until it's kind of comfortably sitting and sitting centrally. Obviously you don't want it cockeyed like that, you want it sitting in the middle. And then I just tie a bow on top of that and make sure that that's going to sit straight. Make it a little smaller, I think, so that we can just tighten that up a bit. There we go. And yeah, sometimes it twists, but that's okay. And then we'll just chop those ends off, not quite as long as the velvet. And that's how I finished it off. So that just sits nicely there. So if I put it this way, you can see, just get all this stuff out the way. There we go. You can see how that would then sit hanging on a wall or a door or a cupboard door or something like that, or from a pin board, vision board, something like that. That would look nice like that, hopefully. And then I've got Love What You Do in one of the smaller ones like this again, but in Tranquil Tide, and I've just got one of the clips out of the artisan embellishment pack, and I'm just going to pop that over with a bit of paper and tie that on a bit like I did with Louise's. But Louise's I've put this sentiment on, and Daniela's I'm going to put this sentiment on because I love what she does. She does a good job. Okay, so there you go. Hopefully you've enjoyed that tutorial. Just a quick video on how to put together this nice wall hanging. And as I say, if you want anything, all the links are below in the YouTube description piece, and I will. And I'll put the link to the blog post I did when I spoke about this, and that blog post has got all the measurements of all the pieces. So hopefully you can make this at home. All right then, thanks very much for watching. See you again soon. Ta-da, bye.